Hey everybody, Mr. Troy here. What I've got for you today is a quick video about factoring. Factoring, super important in math. You need to make sure you learn how to do this. So today is just a video working you through what's the thought process of thinking, how do I do these problems when I have to do them on my own. All right, here we go. Okay, remember when you're factoring, the end goal is to come up with the parentheses that would FOIL to make that. So, for example, for problem number 1 here, the correct answer is k minus 9 times k plus 1. You could also write that backwards as k plus 1 times k minus 9. They mean the same thing. Now, how do I know that's the right answer? Well, when I FOIL out, I get k squared plus 1k minus 9k minus 9, and that makes k squared minus 8k minus 9. So your thought process on this is to look first at the last number, the constant term, and to say what things could multiply to make that number. Well, to make 40, you could do 1 times 40, 2 times 20, 4 times 10, or 5 times 8. So is there any way that those can make negative 14? Well, if I did a minus 4 times a minus 10, that would multiply out. The lasts would be plus 40, and the negative 4a and the negative 10a would add to make negative 14. So, for a problem like 6, we would look at 42 and we would say, oh, okay, 42. Well, I don't know where to start, so 1 and 42, and I guess then 2 and 21. Is 42 divisible by 3? You might have to do some work here. You might have to say, oh, that's 3 times 14. Is it divisible by 4? Well, it would be 4 times like 11, 10 and a half. So that doesn't count. We don't want to use any fractions. It's not divisible by 5. It's 6 times 7, though. Now, you're saying after that, those numbers multiply to make 42. Do any of them combine to make 1? So if you did n minus 6 times n plus 7, the lasts would multiply to make negative 42, and the outers and the inners would combine to make 1n. Okay, so when you look at the signs, so when I look at this negative 30, I know one of them is going to be positive and one of them is going to be negative, because a positive times a negative multiplies to a positive. I see the factors of 30, for example, in problem 5, are 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. Now I could keep going. I could say like, oh, 5 and 6. But I notice 3 and 10, if I use negative 10 and positive 3, the outers and the inners make this negative 7. Okay, so I want you to pause the video and just take a look at number 7. Okay, pause the video, take a look at that, see if that one makes any sense to you. Okay, here's how I would start a problem like 7. I would say to myself, I'm multiplying to make a positive. And when I multiply to make a positive, that's either a positive times a positive, or it's a negative times a negative. Since I'm trying to add to a negative here, I'm going to be using the negative times a negative 1. Now the things that make 16 are 1 and 16, 2 and 8, and 4 and 4. Go in order here when you list them. 2 and 8 add to 10, so negative 2 and negative 8 add to negative 10. Okay. When we get a problem like number 8, we're going to notice that they're all divisible by 2. So we're going to start by factoring out a 2. Just like we did in the earlier videos, we did with the area model and some other stuff. And then we're going to go from there. So this one would be 2 times n plus 8 times n plus 1. Okay, so here are 8 problems for you to look at. Okay, I want you to stop, try some of them, think about what you know, think about what you don't know, think about what the signs tell you, so the negative or positive here, the negative or positive here, okay? And then for anything we do right now until later on, if there is a number on the x squared, a leading coefficient, that is going to divide out, okay? You'll be able to factor out that greatest common factor. So pause the video, see what headway you can make with these. Cool, give it a try. Okay, here are some answers for you. Maybe you got one of these right, maybe you got none of these right. Sorry to start off with one that was not possible. That one's a little bit tricky, okay? I need you guys to be asking questions if you don't quite know what's going on, okay? We'll do more and more and more and more practice on this until this is easy. All right, cool. Talk to you later.